Hey,
So
congratulations. Case dismissed.
I know it's awesome. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, it has. I'm surprised it took them this long, but the DA is slow about everything. So
Yeah, so I
they ma
saw I pulled the order and I don't know if they had sent it to you. I know you when we had spoken a little while ago, they were going to be entering the order. Um,
right.
so I just saw that, and they're basically saying that it looked like and of course they're going to say this, but probable
Right.
cause existed, but they couldn't prove up their case. And I guess that's explain that. That's really just kind of their caveat for the civil thing, basically saying, "Hey, look, we can meet our burden on the civil level, but we can't on the criminal level." Is that basically what it's saying in a nutshell?
That might be what they're trying to hint at us, but really what they're saying, I mean that's a standard form. A lot of DAs they have a standardized what are we going to plug in here? And what they're saying is that they had a reason for an arrest, but they don't have the evidence to prove it up.
Right.
Right. Well, if you don't have the evidence to prove it up, then you didn't have the evidence for an arrest. Like that's I don't know. I mean, I understand that police work is not the same as legal work, right? You arrest somebody and then you hand it over to the DA to prove, and the DA and the police don't always get along uh or communicate very well. And this is an example of a police officer doing a bad job and the DA not having anything to go on. Now, that I don't think the DA would have had anything to go on even if the officer did a good job, right? So this is a case where justice was served, and that's ultimately the DA's job. The DA is supposed to seek justice, not to win cases, and and so I think they made the right call here.
They did because it would have. I believe it would have turned out pretty catastrophic for old Osteen had
I
he
think so
had
too.
shown up. That was, you know, uh, the age-old adage, and I'm dealing with it really hard over in Utah right now. Justice delayed is justice denied. Well,
I
justice
agree.
wasn't completely denied in this case over in Galveston now, and it took forever. I think they wanted to hold on to it. Now it's time to start figuring out plan number or stage two after everything that had gone on. So
Yeah, and I think stage two is what's the appropriate redress for for what was done to you. I think we start looking at who knew that you were innocent, uh who who was was targeting you and maybe carrying out searches they shouldn't have, or pulling over you without reasonable suspicion, and what was their goal, and who was in on it, right? There it seems like there were probably multiple governments in on it. So
it's been a
that's
pattern and practice now. It's shown itself in Layton. It's shown itself in Galveston, and I believe that we're seeing the workings of it happening again, quite possibly in Morgan County, Utah. And if I could, one thing I want to definitely throw out there and say about all this is, I mean, look, people need to kind of take notice at what's going on. This stuff's not being tolerated anymore, and it's
right.
going to get found out. You can't hide the records, and when it does come out, you know, is it worth listening to a bunch of liars over in Mississippi that have continuously conspired over and over and over again? Their day of justice is coming very soon. And anybody out there, any other city that might possibly be in their line of fire as far as communicating stuff out, heed the warning, because Layton is now wrapped up in a bunch of mess because they took the information that was sent to them and then redisseminated it out. That's obviously a major issue. You got this Galveston issue that you know uh, Osteen spoke with two sheriff's deputies over in Lafayette County. Now the case is dismissed. Now look at all the liability over Galveston's head. Okay, all
Mm-hmm.
because they let Lafayette County, Mississippi, podunks, it's class it's classy ignorance is what it is.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate. Yeah, that's wonderful news. Um, I was looking at coming down there, and I need to. We need to definitely talk about the other stuff, off of here. But I know that the clock is definitely ticking on some claims.
Yep. But overall, I think justice was delayed, but ultimately the the system got it right in letting you free. So
I
glad we
appreciate
could
it. You
help
did a
get
wonder.
you there.
You did a wonderful job, Ben.
Thank you.
I highly recommend this guy. If you're in the Houston, Texas area, if you have any personal injury, any probate, any Ben, why don't you go ahead and mention what you're. I know obviously you do handle some criminal and all that in civil rights, but why don't you go ahead and mention what your specialty is?
Sure. Yeah. Obviously, like you said, I do some criminal and civil rights. I've had some moderate success with it. It's not what I enjoy doing, but I do it because it's the right thing. Uh, but I'm kind of a nerd, and what I really like is writing things. I like writing contracts. I like writing wills. I like doing trusts. So, yeah, if you have that sort of need and you're in the Houston area, look me up. I'd be happy to help or refer you to somebody who can.
That's awesome. You did a great job, and best of all, you don't. It's kind of rare to find an attorney that actually will be there, pick up the phone, and you know he's a lot more accessible than and that's nothing. That's not saying that he doesn't have a full plate. He has a full plate and he still makes himself accessible. So, um, fantastic.
Awesome. I appreciate the compliments. This was
Absolutely.
not supposed to be an ad for me. I came on to talk about the good news from Mr. Reardon. So,
Hey,
so
so we
yeah.
want to. I think I kind of touched on this earlier, but uh, you know, there are things that have been talked about that have not been seen, proven,
Right.
shown, and I think that's very important from a credibility standpoint to show that the things that I've been saying all along are supported by evidence,
Hmm.
and I would like to. I definitely want to. Uh, you know, I deserve full vindication at this point, and to
Hmm.
me, full vindication goes farther than just a settlement. To me, full vindication is the truth, is people actually seeing the truth,
Hmm.
because that goes a lot farther. Because it's
Yeah.
this all this stuff has been a wrecking ball to my life. It's not only is it all just taking me to the lowest levels, but uh, the government's favorite tool, the gaslighting. The lies and bullshit. Need to
Right.
be um, need to be shown. These people need to be discredited, and a little bit of credit needs to be added to the things that I've been saying all along that I think people have questioned. So
Yeah. I think that's right. And I notice as I do the civil rights work and the criminal work, what I notice is that the government doesn't treat itself as if it's a as if it's part of the people. They treat themselves as if they're separate from the people and they need to protect themselves, which goes against the whole idea of what government's supposed to be for, which is to protect us first and to be our servants. And
yep.
instead they serve themselves and try to keep us out. So
We
yeah,
see it all
I
the time.
totally agree.
See it
Totally
all the
agree.
time with locked doors, city
Yep.
halls, and all that. I see it all the time.
Hmm.
So
So well,
yeah,
thanks for having me here to talk about your case. And
I appreciate it. Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
sir.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.